What up, everybody? It's Htgawm. Let's talk about it. This is How to Get Away with Murder Season 5 episode. Listen, I know. I'm like, I was just living my best life this weekend. So, got away from me. But I'm here. And let's just go ahead and get into it. Annalise goes to the police station and she questions Gabriel when she gets there. Obviously, she thinks that the FBI might be using him to get to her or trying to get her to say something on the wire. He said he does not have a wire. He doesn't have anyone. She is his last resort, and will she please help him? So he tells Annalise that they never asked him about anything about Sam. They only asked him about seeing Nate and Miller together at the wedding, which he did not see. Annalise starts to believe him. She asks him about the fake IDs that he has. He says that he uses the fake IDs because when he gets arrested at the protest, he uses that for his ID. I guess not to mess up his real name because obviously he wants to go to college, law school, and so forth and so on. So that's why he has the fake ID. He says that's everything that he knows and that Miller called him because he wanted him to help him find out what happened to Sam. Basically saying, I will help you find out what happened to your father if you help me get into the group or infiltrate the group or whatever. That's the only reason he was doing it, not for any other reason. Annalise is obviously hesitant to believe him. And so here we go. With Annalise, Bonnie, and Nate, and basically they're just going back and forth because Annalise is now getting this new information about Miller working with Gabriel to take her down. And she's telling Bonnie, obviously you didn't know your boyfriend very well. And Bonnie was like, no, I knew him. He wasn't doing, he was innocent. She's on this he's innocent thing now. So I guess he innocent. And Nate said that he was working her, not Nate, maybe Annalise said he was working you the whole time. Annalise says she believes Gabriel, and Bonnie says, well, she believed Miller. And she's like, well, you also believe the governor. How far did that get you? And Annalise was like, yes, I did get played, but you got played too. So basically we need to figure out what's going on because the whole world is collapsing around us as we speak. Tegan meets with the FBI lady. They pull up on each other and she says, she's so busy. She knows that she's very busy. So, she wanted to give her a call, and she was like, well, what you got to tell me about Annalise? She was like, Annalise, what you mean Annalise? Basically, the FBI lady is, I thought you came over here to tell me something about Annalise since you're working with her now, or she doesn't realize that the Miller case is connected with all of this or whatever. And she's thinking that, Tegan's thinking that Laurel's dad is the person who, is sending her this, I don't know, did she get a threatening email? Yeah, to send her the threatening email, or the person that's behind all of this or whatever. No, that was this episode. FBI Blondie is basically like, if you help us, we can help you. We can protect you like we did for you the last time. Basically, you'll have immunity. Nobody will know it's you or whatever. And so Tegan is like kind of on the fence. She kind of should have never called that lady. Now you getting that lady wrapped up in you. And you, girl, I told you didn't want to be wrapped up in this mess, honey. We're back to Gabriel. What's the charge? What's going on? They trying to figure out what they're going to charge him with. Annalise and the crew are trying to figure out what they're going to charge him with. He's continuing to question him and says, is he sure that he's not involved in the case of Miller being missing? He says no. She asks about felonies. She asks about the ID. Like I said, for arrest and all of that stuff. So at arraignment, he's charged with violating the Patriot Act. So this is like a domestic terrorism charge. This is a big deal. Annalise is like, what is up with these trumped up charges? And the DA brings out this, or the federal government, brings out this picture of him with a mask on, looking like he's throwing a chemical agent at the police officers. And they said the reporter that was taken years ago, a reporter took the picture years ago when the marches on Ferguson. And so somebody took the picture, and they could just now identify him or whatever. And so they found a mask in his apartment, and now they know that it's him. So they put him in jail. They give him like a $1 million bail or something like that. And she's looking at him and he's looking at Annalise like, girl, I hope you get me out of here, girl. I'm gonna tell on everybody, okay? Frank and Nate, they get together and they working together, okay? Bros. They getting the call log to Miller's phone, his burner phone, and they start calling all the numbers back on it, basically just doing, grunt detective work. And so he sees Nate, Frank can see that Nate is obsessing over Miller, and basically he knows that he's feeling guilty about killing him because if he's innocent, that means he killed an innocent man, and Nate is not a bad guy, so he feels bad about this or whatever. And then we also see Bonnie calls and tells Frank that Gabriel is arrested. He has been arrested, or Frank tells her he been arrested, and she like, we already know. And he gonna crack soon. Basically, he ain't gonna hold too long. And they like, all right, you know what I'm saying, he might come up thinking somewhere. Annalise is meeting with Gabriel to talk about the case now that they got the charge charges. And she's like, is that you in the picture? And he was like, yeah, it's him in the picture. You know what I'm saying? But he got a mask on that you can't tell that it's him. He says you need to write down all your passwords and everything to all your, you know, computer, all everything. And he's like, well, why? Because if the government say they have more evidence against you, then that means that they probably have something in your correspondence, and we need to check it all. Then see her walking with the crew, and she's telling them, you know, I need you to check into all of Gabriel's accounts, all his emails, all his passwords, everything that got anything to do with him. Here it is. Check it out. See what's up in there. At this time, Michaela is like, you know, I think we need to check into Tegan and, like, see what's up with her, because I feel like she an FBI informant. You know, we don't need to lie to her at this moment. We have to take care of her. Like, basically saying, like, she's not somebody you want to let slip through the cracks, because this could be something that could bite us. You know, I ain't gonna lie, she's smart in that aspect of thinking, like, of the big picture, which is cool. I like that about her. Michaela then goes to Tegan and tells her that the FBI is looking into Nate. She doesn't know why they're looking into him, but they're looking at him for, you know, Miller's basically she telling the truth. No tea, no shade. She was telling sort of the truth, okay? And so Tegan is like, you know, basically like, I'm giving you an in on the tea. So Tegan believes her, and she says that's why they didn't want to file a civil suit, because they didn't want to draw any more attention to him at this time. And so Tegan is like, is that it? She's like, yeah, girl, that's it. But then Crawford walks in and he asks about the case with Gabriel getting arrested for domestic terrorism, and Tegan looking at her like, girl, didn't you just say that was it, bitch? That's not it. The crew reports to Annalise, and they say they found something in his text messages. This is Gabriel's text message. So they said they doing a visit to him. So they asking him about the text messages. They asked him about the text to his mother. Basically, Annalise is like, you're texting her about me, you asking her. The mama was like, was she treating you well? Has she asked about me? And he was like, you know, yeah, she treated me well. So he tells them that he wasn't talking about Annalise, he was talking about Michaela. And so they're like, we don't believe you. And so he calls his mama. Now, to be honest with y'all, I personally think that he didn't call his mama. I personally think that he just picked up the phone and played like he called his mama, or he called his mama, then he hung up the phone on her or whatever, or something like that, you know, to play it off, because it didn't really look like he was talking to nobody. It looked like he took his finger and just hit that end button, okay, and just kept talking. You know what I'm saying? But I could be wrong, but he called his mama and talked to his mom on the phone for a few minutes. And, you know, he was basically like, you know, oh, you talking about Michaela? Oh, you know, nah, ain't gonna be calling me to be fussing at me now. You know, like it was, you know, like a cute conversation with the mom. But I don't think mama was on the phone. What y'all think? I don't know, child. I don't know. Bonnie is snooping around the office trying to figure out who Miller's friend in the governor's office was. So she goes down to his secretary and basically makes a little small talk with her. And she asks about the friend. Did they have any contact? And she was like, no, if somebody was calling from the governor's office, I will remember that. So no, she didn't have any luck. And while she's down there, the phone is ringing and she answered the phone. And you know, my conspiracy theory ass was like, it's the FBI on the phone. They telling her, get some information. But no, it's Miller's mama, and the secretary is basically like, I feel so bad. She keep calling up here, and I don't really know what to do, you know. And so Bonnie asks for her number, and I'm like, here, Bonnie, go with this self-deprecating behavior she always displays, where she just loves to put herself through pain. You done already killed them, girl. So you gonna go sit up here and just torture yourself for doing it, girl? Just, I don't know, stop killing people. Like, maybe if you just y'all stop doing it, like you was, never mind. Maybe that's too much. It's how to get away with murder, right? So Nate is still calling the numbers on the log for Miller's phone. Him and Frank still together, and Frank offered to go get something to eat, and Nate tells him, you know what, just go ahead and go home. And Frank offers him a little bit of comfort. You know, he says basically, I know you feel bad about what you did, you know, feel like you killed the innocent man, and you know, you feel like we have control of each other, ourselves. Basically, we're not animals, we're not wild, we, you know, and it's a world where you can be okay with what you did. I know it's a world where you hate yourself for what you did. Basically saying like, you gonna have to forgive yourself at some point. You did snap, you did lose it. And I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't kill him, okay? Bonnie did. But, you know, I guess that's semantics. He beat him up to a pulp. You know, he might have died anyway. You know, who knows? But he's saying, like, you're going to have to forgive yourself at some point. So he goes on and leaves. Bonnie is at Miller's mother's house, and she expresses how the police aren't telling her much. And Bonnie's like, listen, they're not telling me much either, you know. And then she asks again her mother, she asks his mother about the contact he might have at the governor's office. And the mother says she doesn't know of any contacts that he have. He didn't really talk about work that much. They didn't really even like the governor because the governor took some money from an oil company or something like that, and they didn't really even like her anymore. And so, you know, kind of painting this picture that Miller didn't even fool with the governor like that, so he wouldn't be that, you know, down the ride to do this illegal shit or whatever. So just making Bonnie feel basically 10 times worse about what she has done. She's sitting up in here, you know, beating herself up. His mama was like, hold on to the hope that we're gonna be together soon. I have hope. Do you have hope? I have hope. I was like, child, this is, if you felt guilty before this, girl, stop killing people. It's real simple. Okay, so FBI Blondie come in and she like, listen, we gonna drop the charges. Jesus gonna drop the charges if you work for us and don't work for Annalise no more. Like, what's the tea? We're going to give you immunity. She was like, the DA is missing and the lawyer, you know, you using your lawyer for alibi, the lawyer who used to be married to your daddy. And it's like, dun, 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 she know what the tea is. Okay, he was like, I was waiting for you to drop that. I was waiting for you to drop that. He got to give it all up. She said, work with us or go to jail. Basically, we know everything about Annalise. We know it all. So, like, you going to work with us or you going to go to jail. So, the confusing part about this is going to be how the timeline is put together in the end, because we don't know when they had this meeting with Gabriel. Is this like after he went in the first time and told him that story? You know, when did this exactly happen? So that's how they do. They chop and screw the timeline and throw us off or whatever. I got your plan. I got y'all. I got it now. I got the blueprint. I've been watching this show. He says he don't work for Annalise or whatever, and like I said, they're like, we know everything and you're going to tell us or you're going to go to jail. That's it and that's all. The FBI Blondie steps out and she calls Tegan and she leaves a message about, you know, her having information, and she thought she would have some information for her. Okay, and Tegan hears the message and she was like, oh girl, I'm scared. I'm afraid, girl. So Annalise is meeting with her boss, Crawford, and he offers to help her. He trying to find out what's going on with Gabriel and says that, you know, because she helped him out, he gonna help her out, and maybe they should do a press conference. And she was like, hell no, we ain't doing no press conference. We absolutely are not going to be doing no press conference. That's not what we need. And he just going on and on and on about helping child like he ain't got nothing to do, child. He can find something to do. Don't you got some cases to work on, sir? Don't you got something to do? He going on and on. She like, listen, if you want to help me, don't have no press conference. That's it and that's all. And you have a good day. Annalise comes up on the crew in the house, and Michaela comes up and tells them that Tegan is an informant and they need to go ahead and just neutralize her right now. So she got Oliver to come up with this, drum up this email from this, you know, FAR account that's going to ping some off somewhere in the world. And it says, hi, Jane Doe. That's all it says in the email. So basically scaring Tegan. She was like, oh my God. They were like, girl, you obsessed. And she was like, I know, I love her. That's why I'm able to know what scares her. Okay, so this is gonna get her to, you know, chill out. If she was gonna say anything, she ain't gonna say nothing now. And at first, you know, they're like, we can't do this. We can't do, they be killing me with this. She's talking about, we can't do this. We can't do this. All y'all do is y'all done killed several people. Okay, at this point, why you can't send an email? Like, I'm confused. Now you got a morality? Like, I'm confused. What? So anyway, so they're like, we can't do this. And Annalise is like, listen, can we trace the shit? Oliver's like, nah, we can't trace it. So she like, go through this shit. So now we with Bonnie and Frank, and Bonnie is asking Frank, have they found anything? He like, nah, we haven't found anything. You know, we see Miller's mom text Bonnie, and you know, Frank is like, what the hell, girl? You don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. So she saw her tied to the governor. Oh, she tells him that, you know, she was just asking about Miller's tie to the governor. And he was like, why would you ask his mother? He don't know. She don't probably know nothing about that. And she was like, well, you know, you never know. I just was asking. He telling her, listen, you don't have to do this. Like, you ain't got to put yourself through this. But do what you want to do, you know, and just let me know. So she hugs him and they hug it out. I don't know if they're going to end up together at the end. I don't know. They getting a little chummy, a real huggy. You know what I'm saying? Real huggy. Like, I don't know. What y'all think about that? The crew is going through Gabriel's stuff, and you know, they telling Michaela that he told his mama about her, and she all, you know, smitten, and Laurel's like, don't tell her that because I didn't want her to give him another. Girl, shut up, Laurel, shut up. Oh God, shut up. Oh God, she was so annoying this episode. My God, she's terrible. They figure out that they can get the charges dropped if they put, you know, they highlight that the FBI did not do their job correctly. So they have a camera in Gabriel's apartment, remember, so they can look at the FBI search and find something wrong. And they're like, well, they're going to have to reveal that we have a camera in the room. And they was like, well, at this point, we don't have no other choice. So Annalise goes to court, and she gets the government to drop the charges. It was almost embarrassing because you can see an officer putting the mask underneath his, like, bed mattress. Or it was something stupid, like the dumbest place to hide something, okay, under your mattress. They dropped the charges, and Gabriel was a free man, but he was also very pissed about being surveilled by all these people. And he goes and confronts the group about this, and they tell him that, listen, you is free right now because we was surveilling you. Like, you mad you was watched, or you upset? We don't understand. Like, you is free. Annalise walk up and say the same thing, and he's like, I'm leaving. She's like, nah, you ain't going nowhere. We finna do you like Rebecca. You finna go to the house, and you not gonna go nowhere. You not gonna leave our sight. Okay, that's what you are about to do. I was like, why would you go home with him and knowing that you had know all the information? That's just like, I would be like, y'all gonna murder me and bury me in the backyard, and I'm not about to do it. Okay, like, I'm not going home. No, absolutely not. But you know, maybe it's just because I've been watching this show. Gabriel is new. Tegan and Crawford talk about the student getting charged and, you know, him getting off or whatever. And she was like, I'm surprised, you know, now I see why Annalise didn't want to tell me about it. And he says, what do you do for fun? Because you keep calling me up in here about Annalise. Like, this your job, stalking Annalise? Like, what do you do? And he was like, you know what, let's go have a drink. And she was like, no, I got shit to do. But, you know, maybe we could take a rain check or something, you know, because I got things to do, baby. I ain't got time to play with you. And, you know, he do make another quip of her about Annalise, too. I think it's funny, the jargon between them. But I don't think she like Annalise as, like, a romantic. I think she like her as, like, you know, like, she look up to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is sister girl. She doing it. I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? We doing out here. We are living. Hey, single. Ooh, when the night is gone around. Annalise meets with Bonnie, Frank, and Nate. So they said Miller called Maria Sloan. Maria Sloan is the person who worked at the Children and Family Services when Annalise was trying to adopt Wes. So he the one who found out about the adoption. He gave the paperwork to the governor. They were saying Burkhead, and, like, I didn't know who Burkhead was, child. Until it took me a minute to figure out, oh, this is the governor they talking about. So, the governor. And that's the only connection that they have with him to the governor. So, Annalise is obviously pissed because she's like, you know, this is going to expose my connection to Sam's killer and, you know, basically put me back in jail. And she's like, you just going to bleed me dry? You might as well just cut me, girl. Just cut me right now and just bleed me dry right here, child. Because all I do is clean up after you. I was in the hell, bitch. I was in it. Didn't you see the movie? The fuck? This all I do is clean. I ain't killed no damn body. But every time I turn around, I'm trying to help one of y'all. And the one time you can find some evidence that's gonna connect me to somebody, you gonna use it? Oh, this what we doing? She was like, oh, all right. I see how it is. I see how it is. And she walk out, and I was mad with her. I was mad with her. I hope she didn't go drink no liquor at the house. Gabriel was asking the crew, was it fun to watch him? You know, he trying to be funny, but don't nobody really care at the end of the day. At the end of the day, Gabriel, it wasn't that deep, son. We were just trying to figure out what you was doing. You was lying, too, okay? And, you know, Laura was like, you know, we was watching you like you was watching us, so don't even try it. Oh, he just go off on them and is like, you know, I just did all this so I can find out what happened to my father, find out what happened to my dad. There's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, they all was quiet for a minute. Annalise calls and she meets with Gabriel to basically tell him about everything that has transpired, okay? About Wes, about Sam, you know, how he might have killed Wes because she tried to adopt Wes when he was younger, and, you know, Sam was going to end the marriage, and maybe he found out that maybe that's why he killed Wes later on in life. She doesn't really know. Like, she's trying to tell him, you know, give him disclosure about what's happened in the past to a certain extent, okay? Because when she said maybe that's why he killed Sam, he was like, is that why? The governor knows about the adoption. And so basically Nate, you know, the whole connection with Nate's father and all of that, she told him everything. And so he's basically like, oh, so you've been lying to me? She was like, you was lying too. Like, don't try it. You was lying. I just got you off. Like, you would have been dead had it not be for me stepping in to be your lawyer. At the same time, we see Miller's mom calling Bonnie once again. She looking at the phone, like, is she going to answer the phone? And like I said, it's cross-cut between the two scenes. And Annalise is telling Gabriel that he owes her and that she needs to help them take the governor down. And so Gabriel goes to the FBI. Gabriel says he wants protection and he's ready to talk, okay? And so he says that D.A. Miller told him Annalise tried to adopt Wes when he was a kid. So this is some information that they're giving the FBI that's new information, right? So they're kind of like throwing it out there like he's telling you the truth because this is something that nobody knows or whatever. And so And she thought that that was proof as to why she had something to do with Sam's death later on. So he said he heard Miller on the phone talking to somebody, telling them that about the adoption. And the lady is like, who? Okay, officer is like, who? And he's like, you know, I think her name was Lynn. Okay, so the governor's first name is Lynn. Her name is Lynn Burkhead. So then we see FBI Blondie looking at this whole report, this layout of all the, you know, pictures. You know how they do the FBI wall layout. And the woman comes in and she's like, hey, you know, you think they playing us? And she was like, yeah, of course I think they all playing us. Yeah, they all playing us. So she's pretty much figured out everything, okay? Like, a lot of shit, okay? They about to get her for running a criminal enterprise, bitch. They about to catch her on a RICO charge, okay? So Crawford and Annalise are in the office, and he asked her, do she trust Tegan? And she was like, yeah, I trust Tegan. And he said, well, she got a weird email. And Annalise was like, what email are you talking about? I have no, what? He was like, okay, well, just let me know, you know, if you see anything that's out of, you know, particular or whatever. And she was like, well, you need to trust her because she knew about your sexual misconduct or whatever, and she never used it against you. She said, you know why you should trust her? Because she used she knew about your sexual misconduct, and she never used it against you. That was all me. When she leaves out of the office, Crawford calls down to IT, and he gets access to Annalise's emails as well, which I think is a bit creepy, but he's not going to find anything in there, but, you know, he getting access to the emails. We with Michaela and Gabriel. She meets him at the house, and she's like, you know, she trying to come and help him get the camera out or whatever. So she gets the camera, and she's getting ready to leave, and she was like, you told your mama about me? He was like, you whore not to talk about, and they look at each other all lovingly, and I'm just like, child, I'm over this. Like, Michaela be with a new person that's finna go to jail, that's on trial every season. She be with somebody that's on trial, child, or going to jail, or a child gay. I'm sorry, bisexual. He bisexual. Yeah, he bisexual. Mama, Bonnie is telling Nate that Mama wants a vigil. She wants people to remember that, you know, he was alive and that it's time for them to basically let the body come out. And Nate is like, you know, it's harder for the FBI the longer we have a missing body. And she was like, you know, it's time to do it right now. Like, we need to give her some closure. We need to do this. At the same time, we see FBI woman looking at all the pictures on the wall, and all the arrows are pointing to Annalise at the middle of the whole thing. And I mean, it had it down to Rebecca, down to, did it have Lila on there? It might have had Lila on there too, bitch. Okay, it had Rebecca, it had everybody. I said, uh-oh. They had the whole thing worked out. So I'm trying to figure out in 2 episodes how they gonna get out of all of this, child. This is a whole mess. We see a news report that Miller's body has been found. We see Annalise talking to Tegan, and she's saying, you know, Crawford is coming for you. Just watch your bad, girl. You know, it's things that's going on. And she was like, she's like, who, you? And she was like, what you mean? She turned the computer around. There's the news report that Miller's body has been found. He was missing, and, you know, now his body has been recovered like in an abandoned car or something like that. And so Bonnie gets home, and, you know, Frank is like, was that Nate? And she's like, yeah, that was Nate. And poor child, when his mama called, and so Miller's mom called Bonnie and was crying on the phone like, oh my God, it was so sad. I was like, oh Jesus, it was that wailing, screaming cry. Like, I want to know how she did that. I want to know how the actress did that, baby, because she was crying, honey. She was crying. She was laying it out. Crew is watching the news report as well, and Asher, you know, is all excited. He like, we gotta win. We ain't going to jail today, because they do mention the governor's name and all of this stuff in it being a part of the investigation and whatnot. So he all happy, but then he get an alert on his phone from Instagram, child, and his mama done posted a picture with him and her on the picture at the wedding, and guess who in the background? It's Nate and Miller, and it looked like they in a serious argument. So that's how the episode went off. All in all, I thought it was a good episode. It was a lot going on. Once again, it's one of them episodes where shit just be happening every 5 seconds. But I thought it was a good episode. Yeah, I'm excited to see how they're gonna wrap all of this up. Like I said, sometimes they spend a lot of time on like one thing happening or one emotion happening, and we kind of miss some of the little storylines kind of like fall apart on the side sometimes. So like, I wish they would give us a little bit more towards the beginning, or some of those episodes could be used to further explain some of the things that are happening. But other than that, I thought it was a good episode or whatever. So I'm excited to see what's gonna happen, child. At this point, I really don't have no predictions, other than Gabriel went on the phone with his mama, and yeah, I don't know. You know, I feel like, I don't know. We gonna see, child. I don't know. So I want to hear what y'all think is gonna happen. So holler at me in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You know you want to subscribe. You here? You stayed this whole time. Just go ahead and subscribe. Stop acting like that. If you want to follow me on social media, you can at Htgawm. That's at Htgawm. So I will holler at y'all next week. You have a blessed one. Peace.